from PRX.
All right, everybody, this is Scoots. I'm coming to you in bed. I am getting comfortable, and I said I'm going to record this spot for Helix Sleep from the bed I love. Do you love the mattress you're listening to this show in right now? Absolutely love it like I do? Because my Helix fits my sleep needs. Does the mattress you're in suit you? Because what happened for me is I took that Helix quiz at helixsleep.com/sleep, and I got matched with a mattress that fits me. I sleep on my side. I sleep on my stomach. I don't want to wake up with aches and pains, and I like to sleep cool. I don't want to overheat. And so when I took the Helix quiz, again at helixsleep.com/sleep, I got matched with the perfect mattress with me in mind. I didn't have to go to a store. I didn't have to have a salesperson watch me. No, I got to tell Helix how I like to sleep, and they matched me with the perfect mattress. And I love the bed so much. I'm like, let me record from bed. And then when you get your Helix, it comes with a 100-night sleep trial, a limited lifetime warranty. It comes straight to your door with free shipping in the U.S. It's got a Happy with Helix guarantee, so you can rest easy with seamless returns and exchanges. And you deserve the best night's sleep possible. You owe it to yourself. So go over there and take the quiz, because not only are you going to get matched with an amazing mattress, Helix is going to offer you a special deal. And they got an amazing deal right now. Go to helixsleep.com/sleep for up to 30% off. That's helixsleep.com/sleep for up to 30% off. Make sure you enter our show name after checkout so they know we sent you. helixsleep.com/sleep. Thanks, everybody. Hey, everybody, it's Drew Scooter here, and it's time to talk about tonight's sponsor, Drip Drop. And you might be like, Scoots, you sound a little bit different. It sounds like you're outside. I think I can hear the sounds of Lake Ontario in the background. And you are correct, because what better place to talk about Drip Drop than right before I have an active summer day. I'm going to go record an episode of me hiking in the woods, and I want to be hydrated. I want to feel good. I want to be alert. And hydration makes a big difference. Electrolytes are not just for extreme athletes or intense workouts. In fact, let me take a quick sip of the strawberry lemonade Drip Drop. Drip Drop is doctor-developed, proven fast hydration that helps your body and mind work better. Think support for busy days, long workouts, summer travel, and everything in between. Because hydration isn't something you do when you're behind, it's how you stay ahead. Right? I'm having it now before I go out in the woods so that I stay ahead of dehydration. Drip Drop uses science-backed formulas for rapid hydration, so you feel results fast while getting 3 times the electrolytes of leading sports drinks. Drip Drop is trusted by firefighters, medical professionals, and over 90% of top college and pro sports teams because it's built to hydrate you faster and more effectively than water alone. And all of their products taste amazing. I really like the grape. I'm really loving this strawberry lemonade. Right now, Drip Drop is offering podcast listeners 20% off your first order. Go to dripdrop.com and use promo code SLEEP. That's dripdrop.com, promo code SLEEP for 20% off. Stock up now at dripdrop.com and use that promo code SLEEP. Thanks, everybody. Friends beyond the binary, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's time for an episode of Sleep With Me, the podcast that's here to put you to sleep, but in the most indirect way possible, to be your friend in the deep, dark night and hang out with you. So whether you can't sleep at all or it takes a little while or you just need a distraction and something nice to listen to before you get in bed, I just realized I normally just say what I'm thinking on these intros, so it doesn't always make a whole lot of sense, but this show doesn't make a whole lot of sense either. Because it's a sleep podcast, and I'm not here to put you to sleep. I'm here to be your bore friend in the deep, dark night. Maybe even bring you sleepy joy and delight, but we'll see. We'll see what's possible. If you're new, welcome. This show is a bit different.
takes 2 or 3 tries to get used to. But for the people it helps, it helped when nothing else did. They said, I had no idea something like this could exist, and I'm glad it does. So if you're new, just see how it goes. What we got coming up is support, because paying for the show is optional, particularly for new listeners. Doesn't make any sense at all, right? Then after the support, we have a long, meandering intro meant to ease you into bedtime. And then later on, we'll be doing a little bedtime story reading and reinterpretation. Be a bedtime story. So I'll be here about an hour. Whether you're new, you're coming back, and you return to the show when you need it, or you're one of those super listeners who listens almost every night or all night long, I'm glad you're here. It's important for me to try to help if I can, to offer you any kind of relief I can in the night. And we do it together. So if you're one of those people that does benefit from the podcast night after night after night, this show's a valuable part of your life. Please consider supporting one of these sponsors or supporting the show directly. Thanks. All right, everybody, it's time to talk about tonight's sponsor, Talkiatry. And if you're here at this podcast, you might be looking for some extra help, right? It's not just a rough patch. It's something you need real tools for. And maybe even more than self-help or just talk therapy. Talkiatry connects you with real psychiatric care so you can actually understand what's going on and get a treatment plan that works. Because a lot of times trying to figure out how to get the right mental health treatment can feel overwhelming. And especially if you've got something you're dealing with on top of that. Talkiatry helps you move from, I know this is something I really need help with, to actually having a psychiatrist who listens and gives you a clear, professionalized treatment plan. And I know for me or the people in my life, that's what I want. But I know that in practice, it's not easy to take the steps necessary, and there's a lot of obstacles in the way. And that's where Talkiatry comes in. Talkiatry is a 100% online psychiatry practice that provides comprehensive evaluations, diagnoses, and ongoing medication management for whatever conditions you're dealing with. Unlike therapy-only platforms, Talkiatry is psychiatry. You're seeing a medical provider who can diagnose mental health conditions and provide medication when it's appropriate. All 800-plus clinicians are in-network with major insurers, so you can use your existing insurance instead of paying monthly subscriptions or out-of-network costs. And because you continue with the same provider, you're not starting over each visit. Your treatment can evolve with you, so you're actually making progress over time. More than 300,000 patients have already found high-quality psychiatric care through Talkiatry. Head to talkiatry.com/sleep to complete the short assessment and get matched with an in-network psychiatrist in just a few minutes. That's talkiatry.com/sleep to get matched in minutes. Talkiatry.com/sleep. Thanks, everybody. All right, I'm so happy to talk about tonight's sponsor, Quince. And Quince is a part of my daily routine. Quince has their superfood greens, which cuts through all that nutrition noise, all the overthinking I would have to do. Oh, if everybody take this, try this. Have you tried that? No, you got to get that. You got to get that and this and that. And I said, I don't know. What's the difference between... Like with Quince Superfood Greens, it's so easy. It's so clear. I don't have to have all of these different supplements. And I've really gone down that rabbit hole. It's exhausting and confusing. But when I take that scoop of Quince Superfood Greens, I know it's going to fill in all my nutrient gaps, support my overall health. It's going to taste good. And I know I'm getting an amazing deal because it's from Quince. Quince Superfood Greens combines 78 high-quality ingredients into just one scoop. It has vitamins, minerals, probiotics, and whole food sourced greens. It's made in the USA and rigorously third-party tested. It's free from soy, stevia, major allergens, and has no artificial sweeteners. Quince works directly with trusted manufacturers, so you know you're getting premium wellness ingredients without the inflated markup. And instead of taking like 6 or 7 different things and still wondering if I'm getting everything I need, if I'm filling in all those nutrient gaps, now I just take that Quince Superfood Green scoop, mix it up, and I know I'm covered. Doesn't it sound so easy? And it tastes good too? And it's a great deal? Fill the gaps your diet leaves behind. Go to quince.com/sleepwithme for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. That's QUINCE.com/sleepwithme for free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/sleepwithme. Check it out. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Thanks, everybody.
Hey, have you been listening to Sleep With Me longer than a year? Do you like getting gifts? Yeah? Have you ever thought about giving yourself the gift of Sleep With Me Plus? Sleep With Me Plus is definitely the best way to listen to the show. There's ad-free full episodes, ad-free story-only episodes. Tons of bonus stuff. It goes way, way back in the archives. Thousands and thousands and thousands of hours. Sleep With Me Plus was built with people that listen to Sleep With Me on a regular basis in mind. It is a gift because the people that support the show and listen regularly, they stay supporting it. I hear from them. Hey, this is my favorite thing to listen to on Sleep With Me Plus. Hey, this is my favorite thing to listen to on Sleep With Me Plus. So you've been listening longer than a year. Give yourself the gift of Sleep With Me Plus. Try it out for 7 days for free. And you can do that at sleepwithmepodcast.com/plus. Not only will you be giving yourself a gift, hey, you'll get a gift from me. I'll send you a personal video saying thanks, a personal video from Scoots, because you will have the gift of my endless gratitude for being able to keep making this show. Because that's the biggest gift in my life, the support I get from listeners to keep doing this. And then I get to give the gift of good sleep, comfort, sleepy joy, and delight out into the world. Thanks. You could do that at sleepwithmepodcast.com/plus. Thanks, everybody. Oh, Mystery Bard. A lot of people help out on the show. Who are they?
Chris Posty Poster Son sounds like an earful. Wrote the theme song. Edits episodes. Carl W. the Legend. Also edits episodes. Ashley, Kenny, Scotty, Jennifer. Runner. Eric and the team at Astound are on the website. I am the Mystery Bard. I do the lullabies, yeah. I do commissions at jonathanmann.net. I'll write a song for you. Any reason at all. You can tell me the story and I'll make it personal. You see the kindness shine straight on through when the listeners form their own Facebook group. Keith, Stacy, Sarah, Julie, and Jennifer. These are your moderators. Get support, dear Scooter, on Patreon. Buy the merch and support the sponsors. You can find anything you want at sleepwithmepodcast.com. And we're so proud that we could dance. Rusty Biscuit, Lois, Hannah like banana. Leah does the transcripts.
Thanks, Mystery Bard. Hey, by the way, when you sign up for Sleep With Me Plus, if you've been listening longer than a year, make sure to let me know how long you've been listening. Because we're having this friendly competition. I don't know if you like winning, but I do. I am competitive. And we're having a competition for people that have been listening longer than a year. How many people are going to sign up to support the show from people that have been listening for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years? And whichever group has the most, we're going to have a party. And one of those people in that group will get a lifetime subscription to Sleep With Me Plus at the Boar Bestie level. And it'll be fun. And you could do that at sleepwithmepodcast.com/plus. I'll send you a welcome video, a personal welcome video, saying thanks. And you can let me know how long you've been listening to the show. And be a part of something positive. What do you say we get on with the show?
Hey, are you up all night tossing, turning, mind racing, trouble, getting to sleep, trouble staying asleep? Well, welcome. This is Sleep With Me, the podcast that puts you to sleep. We do it with a bedtime story. All you need to do is get in bed, turn out the lights, and press play. I'm going to do the rest. What I'm going to attempt to do is create a safe place where you could set aside whatever is keeping you awake. That could be thoughts on your mind, thoughts about the past, the present, the future, thoughts you're thinking about. that always, the inevitable. Is it inevitable? It isn't. Actually, it isn't inevitable, but it certainly feels that way. That they make an appearance right at bedtime, right when my head hits the pillow. Actually, right after that. So usually my head hits the pillow. Then I do some initial tossing and turning. Then, even though sometimes I like to put the pillow on my head, one of my pillows, over my head. And normally at that point, my thoughts will either start going, or they'll say, is this maybe we should change it? Like they say, I don't know about this. Either I'll be somehow instinctually comfortable, like this is the position, or my thoughts are like, is this the position? And then, thoughts, could be thoughts about anything. Could be feelings, anything coming up for you emotionally at bedtime or around bedtime. It could be physical sensations, changes in time, temperature, routine. You could be going through something, getting over something, in the middle of something, maybe work a different schedule. Maybe traveling, maybe you have guests, whatever it is. The only reason I run through a few of those things is so you get the sense you might be in the right place, a place where you could feel or have a sense that you're understood, that there's other people listening right now around the world who have experienced a relationship with bedtime and sleep similar to yours, and maybe some of the strong feelings we share, those non-positive feelings. But I don't know, when I know other people share that with me and relate it, and they say, well, I know what that feels like. That's why you call a non-positive feeling, huh? That's when we can make a positive out of it, to think that there's other people across the world, and we're gathered together a little bit right now, indirectly, but actually, right now, as you're listening, there's other people listening too, some of whom are regular listeners, and they're rooting for those other listeners out there. Some of those listeners have been through something very similar to whatever it is that brought you here. And they're really rooting for you. They say, I know exactly what that's like, or pretty close. I had something similar in my life. Whether it's something that you're just going through right now, or it's been a part of your life for a long time, or both, as it is for a lot of us, that they're glad you're here too, and they're sending you comfort and relief, and they're just, it very is like one of the more rebellious things you can do, but they're thinking fondly of you, And I don't know if you can feel it. You don't even need to feel it to like this show. There's no pressure to even participate in this indirect community. You can look at it from afar where you're comfortable. But if you decide you want to accept some of that other people are rooting for you, that we may share this understanding, or you want to root for other people, or you want to do all of them, you can, whenever you want. No pressure at all. But we do it because as you come around here, you keep coming back, you realize everybody deserves a bedtime, even you, that you could not have to dread, that you could look forward to, or at least feel neutral about. Let's say, well, at least I got that silly podcast to listen to. So I know I'm going to have something to take my mind off of stuff. But you deserve the rest you need on a regular basis so your life is more manageable tomorrow. And if I could be a part of that in a small way, that's important to me, right? And then if you find your way, to something that works on a regular basis, and you have a nice wind down routine or whatever it is you need, you're getting the rest you need on a regular basis, you could be out there in the world flourishing. And we need you in that world flourishing, because it makes our entire world, the entire planet, a better place to be in. So that's really what this show's about, but we do it in an indirect way. What happens is I send my voice across to the deep, dark night. I use lulling, soothing, creaky, dulcet tones. It means my voice is not traditionally soothing. I don't like, this show's like barely comprehensible. I go off topic. I get mixed up. I'm humor. It's like, it's almost funny. You say, yeah, you're almost, it's barely entertaining. So, but that takes some getting used to, because when you first get here, right, whether you found the show through a search or a recommendation or somebody told you about the podcast, whatever it is, you're probably skeptical, or you had some sort of reasonable expectation of what a sleep podcast would be. And this probably isn't what you expected, and that's okay. Of course you had a reasonable expectation. Maybe a little bit relaxing, a little bit of, I don't know, be different than this. You're just kind of rambling almost about nothing. I see, yeah, that's how most people get here. In fact, most of our regular listeners, they didn't like the show, and it didn't actually help them the first 2 or 3 tries they listened. Because they're like, what is this? What is this guy going on and on and on about? And, and I don't quite understand it. And I don't quite understand what he's getting to or where he's going. So just to give it a few tries and see how it goes. That's what most of those regular listeners said. Hey, on the second or third try, I realized, this show is always going nowhere. Now I kind of get what he was talking about. So just see if that works for you. But give it a few tries. Now, the good news is that if it doesn't work, or you already know, I don't think this is the show for me. You're not my cup of tea. That's totally fine too. We have a website set up, sleepwithmepodcast.com/no thank you. Has other sleep podcasts and sleepy stuff on there. And maybe you can find something there that'll help you out. Give it a try and see how it goes. Because that's another part of why it's important. It's still important, even if you don't like me, even if you strongly dislike me in the podcast, which is a common thing, you still deserve a good night's sleep. You're to find something that's going to help you out or set you in the right direction. So check out sleepwithmepodcast.com/no thank you. But give it a few tries. You got nothing to lose, really. I'm here to try to help. So that's one thing. Most people don't like me, and the show takes a couple tries till it even starts working. For most people, there's some people that get it right away. One of the things that does take some getting used to is that this is a podcast or a piece of audio that it's not totally background noise, and it's not something you totally listen to either. It's somewhere in between, or that you can vacillate between the two. You say, I could kind of listen to them, and then I can kind of toot them out. I can pay attention when I need to. It's a different form of listening, like an out-of-focus picture, like sand passing through your hands, or like you're holding on to it and slowly losing your grip. It's like a TV on in the other room, and you can hear it through the walls, and you're like, I can't quite hear what's going on, but it's nice. Like clouds in the sky or wind in the trees, or a show streaming under your pillow that you kind of repurposed to kind of take your mind off stuff and bore you to sleep. Nice water passing through your toes, or a friend or a seminar or a teacher or presentation that you can't quite stay awake for. That you can't quite pay attention to, but they're kind of coming in and they're coming out. And some of us have even done it in person with roommates or friends, or on the phone or on FaceTime, and said, hey, just talk to me about, and can you read me some stories tonight? Your voice is kind of soothing, but there's something about the way you talk that I only want to partially listen to you. For some reason, I guess it makes sense in the daytime. That's... Our social compact says pretending to listen is not okay. On this show, it totally is. You could say, Scoots, go ahead. Tell me more about your podcast. This is, it's not riveting stuff. Have you ever gone on a tangent about riveting rivets or being riveted by rivets? Probably I have, because I was obsessed with girders and girder pictures as a young lad. Loved looking at, and they have rivets. I think those are rivets. Also, rivets were a big part of cartoons when I was a kid. I think that they were the cartoons that were being rebroadcast from the 60s or the 70s. But for some reason, there was a hot, I don't know. I'd like to see what, talk to an anthropologist about that. When riveting, children riveted by rivets peaked. They say cartoon usage of rivets. And the only reason I know that is because I've seen probably animated rivets are kind of like bolts. Well, see, I don't even know what they actually are. But particularly, they're used to hold things together, usually girders in the cartoons or panels. And I don't know if I've ever actually seen an actual film of rivets being applied, but I've seen, in my mind, maybe that's because 40% of my brain is poorly animated, repurpose animation, but I can see a lot of animated riveting. And I was riveted. I wasn't actually riveted by the actual riveting as a kid, but I guess it is riveting because it's okay, I'm pretty sure they were warm. And then when they would go through the hole, then they would expand again so that you didn't actually need it. It wasn't like a nut in a bolt. It was just a bolt. But by the way, this show's not accurate. This is not an accuracy-based podcast. In fact, I don't even know what I was metaphoring about. But I was riveted by rivets. This show is not riveting, but you can kind of listen to it. Oh, yeah, like a social compact. You could say to a friend maybe once or twice a year, hey, could you talk to me for about an hour and a half while I try to fall asleep? But more than that, they're going to be like, oh, no, I think I want to be heard. Or, I don't have an opening in my schedule. If you have a friend that would do it even weekly, that would be monumental, right? Keep that friend, but buy him some nice gifts for sure. So, what's my point? This is a show you don't really listen to. It's kind of like elevated background. You could listen, but you don't need to listen. That takes some getting used to. This is also a sleep podcast that I've been making since 2013. That's not meant to put you to sleep. I'm not here to put you to sleep. There's no pressure to fall asleep. I'm going to be here over an hour. For one, that you don't have to wonder, what if I'm not asleep in 20 minutes? How is the show going to it's not going to put you to sleep. I'm going to be here and take your mind off of stuff while you fall asleep. And the thing is, I'm here to the very end or episode after episode if you need it, if you can't sleep at all, because there are people listening who are dealing with a certain kind of thing and they're not going to be able to sleep at all tonight. And I'm going to be there to keep them company and you, if you're one of them. But whether you're awake or asleep, I'm here for you. And that's a bit different. Again, I would like to repeat it more than once. There's no pressure to fall asleep with this show. I'm going to be here because my job is not to, even though it's the podcast that puts you to sleep, it does it in this indirect way, or it ideally just gives you more positive relationship with bedtime. Because my job's to be your bore friend, your bore bay, your bore sib, your neighbor, your bore bee, your boreman, your Boris Borloff, your chairman of the boards, your, I guess your Boris what's it, your big Borbowski, your best bore friend forever, to just hang out with you. And take your mind off stuff, to be a mild distraction. That's what a bore friend does. So that's different, right? It's like instead of being a sleep aid, I'm an aid in the deep dark night. A little bit different. That's probably not a good metaphor, but who knew? Talking about animated rivets, or before they used to say cartoon rivets, would be, I don't know. And then now I'm already wondering, is this like a memory that doesn't even, was that all a dream too? Was I dreaming of rivets? Maybe another chapter in my, autobiography. Also a great biography, Ben Hamper, I believe, and I think that's who wrote that book, Riveted or anyway, I don't want to get too far off topic. But that was his story about working with rivets. Okay, so the show's not going to put me to sleep. I don't listen to it. Most people don't like it. What other good news do you have for us? Okay, I have one more piece of good news, which is that I like to lay out the structure of the show, why we structure the show the way we do. So that if you're new, a lot of people, it's another thing that kind of defies expectations. So let me explain it to you. And then if you become a regular listener, there are ways regular listeners adjust how they listen. But when you first start, most everything we make, you'll hear Friends Beyond the Binary, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. And then I may say something silly or kind of set up the show so you know what you're getting into. You say, oh, okay, he's kind of trying to be silly. It's very welcoming. Maybe I could check the podcast out. Then there's support, because it does take a lot of people working on the show to put it out. But it's paying for it's optional. And especially occasional listeners or people who can't afford to support the show or new, don't worry about it. That's how we're able to do that. And that benefits way, way, way more people. Only 20% of the people, well, actually even less than that, would ever, like I think like only 1 out of 100 people, if we charged, there's only a charged version of the show, would benefit. 99 other people get to benefit from that. So that's a support. Then there's a long meandering intros, totally separate from the support. It's a show within a show. It goes about 20 to 25 to 15 to 18 to 17 to 22 to 30 minutes long. I don't know if I think I recently did hit 30 minutes, but rarely have we got quite that high. By the way, shout out to anybody listening to 4:20 p.m. I'm not, but yeah, just we're usually 25s, probably peak intros. Anyway, the intro goes on and on and on. Every intro for the show is new, unless it's like an all intro show or like some sort of compilation. And the reason every intro is new is my experience with sleeplessness and a lot of listeners is that we need variety. Repeating the same audio over and over again only worked for me or for a lot of listeners for a short time, and then our sleeplessness adjusted. So that's one of the reasons. The other reason is it gives you something to look forward to. I follow a familiar structure every time, but the intro is also, it's not meant to put you to sleep. It's part of a wind down. Not even listening in your room. I mean, you could, but a lot of people are getting ready for bed. They're doing some other chill activity, winding down, like sitting somewhere comfortable, doodling, knitting, looking out the window, petting their pets, just chilling, like a sleepover. Like after the peaky giggles, this is the part of the sleepover where everybody's kind of winding down. Maybe you're still chit. I don't know if that's chit-chatting, but... talking to one another, still some giggling, but I mean, sleep with me, it's like, we call it bore giggles. It's a rare thing too. It's more of like half a guffaw. So either a guh or faw, more of a faw. You're more of a faw guy. No, well, guffaw. Sometimes you're a guh, sometimes you're a faw. So, the intro goes on and on and on to give you a buffer between being awake and asleep and to ease you into bedtime. Then after the intro will be support, then there'll be our bedtime story. So if you find you don't like the intros, but you like the stories, there's a version of the show called Bedtime Stories from Sleep With Me. But most people like this intro and like spending time as like an indirect community. None of us are alone in the deep, dark night. We all are interconnected. So just give it a try. And then, yeah, if you decide there's like story-only shows, there's all sorts of different stuff on Sleep With Me Plus, too. But at first, try this version out and see what happens, right? So that'll be the intro. Then we'll have support. Then tonight we'll be doing readings from Nothing Works, Everything Happens. And, yeah, I was told I'll be here about an hour. And it really is my honor. I yearn and I strive to bring you some relief in the deep, dark night, to help you fall asleep, and to change your relationship with bedtime so that it can be more positive, that it isn't something you have to dread. And it's just something that I and a bunch of other people really work hard on, and we're happy to try to help. Now, if this show does help you on a nightly basis, if you could please consider supporting one of these sponsors of the show directly, it'd be great. It'd be really, really helpful. I'd really appreciate it. Thanks, and good night.
Hey, it's Scoots. Have you listened to Sleep With Me longer than a year? Okay, do you love giving gifts as much as getting them? How about both? Well, here's the thing. Is Sleep With Me a gift in your life? Does it really feel like a gift that was given to you or that you discovered? Or those good feelings you get around getting and giving gifts? Comfort, connection, joy. It just feels good. Thinking about gifts feels good to me. Well, Sleep With Me is a gift in your life. Think about giving it to someone else. If Sleep With Me changed your life, and there's all those good feelings associated with it, think about, you can give that gift to other people just by letting them know about the show. There's people out there that don't know about the podcast, and there was before Sleep With Me for you, right? And it wasn't good, right? Tossing, turning, mind racing, trouble getting to sleep. What if you could give that gift to somebody else and change their life for free just by letting them know about the show? Think about how good that would feel. Think about how good it feels for you counting on the show, being here on a regular basis, being a part of this thing. The fact that right now, tomorrow, the next day, you could just give that gift to somebody else. And on top of that, maybe you'll get a gift from me by being surprised by Scoots. It's a huge impact. It's a gift to the show because that's one of the things that keeps the show going. But really, if Sleep With Me is a gift in your life, what would it feel like to give that gift to other people? I think it feels pretty nice because I actually get to do it on a regular basis. And it does feel so good. Thanks.
All right, everybody, we're continuing. Nothing Works, Everything Happens with a story called The Great Divide. Which reminds me of a song by the Fish. But anyway, this is a story from Nothing Works, Everything Happens. Look at the last few hundred years, Claire. More and more people have been holding on to things, kind of in a way like for themselves only, Bashan argued. The two colleagues stared at each other for a moment, both clearly furrowing their brows. The dim light of the lab at night cast heavy shadows on the sides of one side of their faces. Yeah, but if you do this, I don't know about it, and it won't be like transferring generationally, things people have been holding on to ever, period. Bashan tapped his fingers on the table sternly. Then we'll kind of all be like snacking on ramen as research assistants, on and on and on. You've already proven we're clearly smarter than our higher-ups, but if you make that clear, if you share this with them, then they'll remain our superiors forever, and we will remain grumpy, unappreciated assistants. His face kind of turned red. Yeah, forever. Okay, just take a breath, said Claire, sitting back down on her stool and looking at the printout in front of her. We need to be sure this is real before we worry about who gets it and who doesn't. You've run the simulation 100 times now. It's real. You're a prodigy. I'm half a quarter. I'm prodigy-esque, and we've both triple-checked it. Claire continued to stare at the printout on the desk in front of her, barely blinking. accelerated preservation of biological processes at rates exceeding those of downplaying and slowing down. That was a large headline. Science speak was standing in for a popular term called the fountain of youth. In graduate school, when she'd explained it to her grandmother, she called it fixing things faster than they can break. Claire had been working on this project in the back of her mind for years. Now she'd taken the ideas she'd hypothesized in her master's, and during evenings and weekends, she'd made them clinically viable. At least that's what the printouts appeared to be proof of. So what would you do? She softened and turned towards Bashan. I don't know, he retorted, riled up. I mean, let's just keep it to ourselves. I mean, to live on and on and on and not tell anyone how. You know, we could just do it for only young people that we like, that we're friends with, or that compensate us, compensate us. I don't know, but you got to sit on this for a minute before you go. I mean, this is like the greatest scientific discovery of all time. And you're going to put it in the hands of people who just see us as research assistants, glorified coffee providers. Claire sighed and looked out at the night. The following week, Claire sat in her grandmother's kitchen. The smell of bran muffins with lots of healthy, but less than appetizing ingredients filled the room. Claire lovingly called them granny muffins. So could I be like this? Her grandmother asked in a heavy accent. Yeah, well, let's just say it was like a really efficient sort of maintenance. It could keep you the same, but it couldn't reverse any time that had passed. We're not talking about a buttoning of Benjamins or anything like that. And then stopping it at a date like your 20s, Claire postulated. Forget it then, her grandmother scoffed. She pulled a baking tray out of the oven and touched it by accident with the tip of her thumb and said, "Oh, boy. It's called the oven mitt for a reason, Grandma. Put it on," said Claire, stepping over to help. "Let me do it how it's always been done by me," her grandmother announced, hanging the oven mitt on its hook. She had always used a dishcloth to grab warm things from the oven. Claire had given her a pair of oven mitts as a gift. Her grandmother had kept them hanging next to her fridge, displayed proudly but seldom used. "Only the young are obsessed with living forever," her grandmother continued, "and that's because they are naive, silly. Of course you think you want more time when you've only had a little, like ordering a third entree after you've only nibbled on the appetizer." Claire chuckled. Her grandmother had always been funnier than she'd meant to be. "We never have to say goodbye," Claire added, taking a moment's pause. "Honestly, I don't know what I'll do when the time comes, Gran." "What a thing to say to your grandmother," she chuckled. Her pride at the fact that she'd handed down her say-it-like-it-is attitude not only one but two generations showed on her face. "You could read every book you ever wanted to read. You could write your own. You could do whatever you wanted, Gran. And if you wanted to, you could do that too. But when the time is right, then you're in full control." "Again, only the young need everything to be in their control," said her grandmother. "Listen, it is an interesting question, but my gut tells me it might be more trouble than it's worth for me, you, anybody." Claire grabbed her granny muffin from the oven and moved to the coffee table. Or off the top of the oven, I guess. Apparently, Scoots wasn't paying total attention. Clearly, she grabbed it from the pan. And if that means the grandmother said, that means if this is who I am, this is who I am, but not forever. No, thank you. The following Monday, Claire walked towards her weekly kickoff meeting with her department supervisor. She wore a long lab coat, but never buttoned it until she was actually entering the lab. She walked down a long glass-walled hallway, and either side were various labs, all isolated, all doing different research projects. Everything here was under the umbrella of human longevity research, but each room focused on different angles to approach aging. As she forced her feet towards the door at the end of the hall, she made eye contact with Bashan. He was filling in for a colleague in one of these labs, and he intentionally looked up from his work as she passed. He gave her a look that would have been easier to interpret without all the face the extras keeping us all well things he was wearing. But for Claire, his point was all too clear. Say nothing, act normal, get out of the meeting. She broke eye contact and awkwardly looked down at the folders under her arm. The secret printout was in there, but she'd buried it at the bottom of all her research. She still hadn't decided how much or how little she'd end up telling her supervisor. "Good morning, Claire," Jean said as she opened the door. Jean didn't look up from Jean's reading. "Morning, Director," Claire replied. She closed the door behind her and made her way to the swivel chair in front of Jean's desk. "Just a moment," Jean said, pointing to a large spot in the page she was reading. Claire politely nodded and sat down, pulling a few papers from the folders she'd been carrying. These were safe to share. Jean finished reading and looked up at her, smiling. "I've heard you've been making breakthroughs." Claire gave a quick look of concern, but quickly erased it with a smile. "Last week was a productive one, for sure." "That's good," Jean said. He held out a hand expectantly. Claire pulled her last week's lab summary from the pile of papers. Charts and figures filled the page, all in tiny print, in order to fit on a single overview. "We replicated the reconstruction test numerous times in isolation," she said. "Very good," Jean replied, staring at the report. "And faster than ever, it seems." "Yeah, but I still need a lot more time to explore the practical applications of that." Jean silently pushed his glasses up on the bridge of his nose and nodded. "Of course," Jean said, handing her overview back. Claire carefully flipped open her folder and tucked the report on top. "Anything else?" Claire paused. "My hope this week is that we can get thingamajig with the thingamajig to last 1.15x. If anyone can get us there, it's you," Jean said, smiling. "I've been getting a lot of input to speed up our research. A lot of people want what we're working on. They want it yesterday. But I know you're doing good work, Claire. I'll go to bat with the funders. You keep up the good work." "Thank you, sir." Claire bowed slightly, smiled at Jean, and stood up. She'd always liked Jean. He'd been very kind to her. However, Jean was an authority figure and very well off and well compensated. Much more than her and Bashan, whose voice was still ringing in her ears. Bashan drew a circle on the weekly overview draft in front of Claire. "This is all the stuff there is in the world. Money, resources, toasters, food, all of it." He drew a line down the middle of the circle. "This half is what your favorite boss, Jean, and all the authority figures have. I mean, we know it's more than half, but this is for simplicity." Claire was only half listening. She was used to Bashan's rants. She was doodling in the margins of the secret printout, giving him half her intention. Two lists mashed up against the edge of the paper. The first was everyone she knew that was over 40 and put frowny faces next to those. The second one, everyone under 40 with an infinity symbol. Now, Bashan is still going on. The other half of the circle, for our generous example, is what the rest of us can command. Here's where we get, pay attention here, Claire. Claire stopped doodling and indulged Bashan. So we got the authority figures, with the percent, the small percent control big percent. They've got it. They're sitting on it, growing and growing and growing. What, like 7% a year? All the stuff here on the right side, we use it. We spend it. Day-to-day expenses, eating, transport, other things. We're, borrowing. It's not growing at all. We spend it. Then we get a view of Claire's list with the frowny faces. Graham, Mom, Deborah from the library, Jean, Rachel and Peter next door, Scooter, Posty, and Claire prodded him along. So they've got piles of stuff. Those piles get 7% bigger every year. And you know what, how things are growing every year? Overall, 3%. That's the GDP, 3%, Claire. 3%. What is 3%? 4 less than 7, Claire muttered. She went back to her listing and doodling. Exactly, said Bashan, and snapped his fingers. So no matter how nice dear Gene is in his fancy office upstairs, he's still an authority figure. Making 7% more than, how does that make sense? 3%? No, 7%. And we're supposed to keep producing things for them to buy with money that they're growing. It's like it's growing on trees, Claire. And what about us? We don't have trees growing anything. Bashan started drawing lines to make the left side of the circle take up more and more area of the right. We produce it, they buy it, more and more and more. And the main thing is, Claire, they have authority over it. Authority. Not authorship, authority. And the overall pie, the circle's not growing. It's just like our side's going over into their side. Okay, Claire's list again. Most of my colleagues, including Bashan, who goes on and on and on, Evelyn, me, all the cuties, that handsome dog dude, probably. Claire nodded her head slowly. I see your point. Claire, they're already on their way to owning everything. There used to be a pressure valve, because they would move on from this existence, this plane. They would no longer have authority. Their watch would have ended, as they say. But if you have them, then we have, then we get redistributed. But if things last forever, they'll have their stuff forever. Are you getting me, Claire? Okay, Bashan, I get it. But let's set the stuff aside for a second. Is this right or wrong to keep it to ourselves? If we're holding on to it as a possession, aren't we being an authority over this information, authority figures? Claire, please. It's okay because we're not authority figures. We're young and youthful. And we don't have a lot of possessions. Claire said. Listen, Claire, there's plenty of wonderful authority figures. Yes, Bashan, there's plenty of wonderful authority figures. Yes, and plenty of miserable people our age. What about those people that act like authority figures? Or, figures, that with an attitude. Claire, we're talking about changing things. The statistics are the statistics. Authority figures have more than we do. But I guess I can't please everybody, Bashan shrugged. Huh, Claire thought. As kids, Gran would tell us if we couldn't figure out how to play fair, we couldn't play, period. Claire, they're not playing fair. Bashan's face was getting flushed again. It seems like such an arbitrary line to draw. Like, why 40? Why not 30 or 50? Or like 52, specifically in 2026. Who are we to decide, Claire asked. Bashan made a gesture with his arms up in front of them. We're the ones that made this discovery, Claire, so we get to decide. On Thursday afternoons, Claire would walk home from the lab and along the way pick up her niece Evelyn from high school. In the summers, they'd get something to eat from the deli and sit in the park. It was the closest substitute either had for sisterhood. Let me ask you a question, Claire said. If you could hypothetically, would you stay 16 forever? Would I? With you, are you kidding me? Do you think I really want to stay 16 forever? You have any idea what it's like inside? My mind, my body's changing. Everyone else in my age is going through the same thing. Do you remember what it's like being 16? Claire laughed. The say it like it is attitude had made it down 3 generations from her grandmother, it seemed. But honestly, like, what if you never had to get older? What if you got to say how and when you changed ages? Claire pressed. I mean, I don't know. It sounds cool. Evie took a bite of her Reuben sandwich. But if I'm honest, I'm looking forward to being older. Like the grass is always greener. I mean, I got to deal with people my own age. I'd like to have my own place. Huh, that's fair enough, Claire said. She tilted her to-go cup towards Evelyn. Evelyn did the same and tapped hers on Claire's. Cheers. Only older people think about living forever because, they're evaluating their life choices. I'm excited about getting older. Evelyn paused and took another bite. Looking forward, the rest of my life is Attaway. She pointed straight ahead. Claire took a bite and watched the gears continue to turn in her 16-year-old niece's brain. What age looks backwards instead of forward? Like, with you, Claire, when does that start? How would I know? Claire responded, quickly smiling. Right, you're still a kid like me. After a moment, Claire answered Evie's question. I think what I think it's in the body, maybe, when there's aches and pains, you can't jump as high as you used to. And, what would you say? That's like 40, Evie said. Claire sighed and then chuckled. Did you just say 40? What? You looking forward to like when you wake up with aches and pains? Evie considered this. No, I'm not looking forward to that stuff. Well, so imagine you could spend your whole life without aches and pains. You'd get your own place. You'd have all that adult stuff, but you'd never get achy or painy. Like 40-year-olds like me, Claire took a long sip from the bottom of her cup. Huh, Evie thought. Yeah, that sounds good. She followed up with this, though. But if nobody changed, what would happen to someone that's my age if they were stuck my age? Would they be stuck as a teen forever? Like if I grew up, but none of the kids in my class ever grew up at all, that wouldn't be very nice to be 16 forever, unless you were in a, rom-com type movie. And even then it wouldn't be forever. It'd only be, that'd just be the title of the movie. Good question, Claire said. Our funding deadline is fast approaching. The review board is getting a little jumpy. They want to see something concrete. I told them it would take time. But everyone's, eager, Gene said, sitting up at his desk. Claire nodded. I mean, I'm not talking about the key to eternal youth here. They just want something more than incremental progress. The Half-Life stuff's amazing. We just need to wrap it up for them in a way that makes them feel good about funding this project for another year. Convince them. Of course, Director. Claire nodded again. Claire still had her secret printout showing she'd already cracked the code. She already knew how to repair things faster than they could degrade. The proof of so-called eternal youth was right here in her hands. She just wasn't sure what to do with it. Can I ask you a personal question, Director? She asked. Of course, anything at all, Claire, Gene responded. I hope it's not inappropriate. Anything at all, Gene interjected. Why do you still, jump through all these academic hoops? Can't you just privately fund the project if you wanted? Gene sat back and had to think. Well, that's not really how wealth works, actually. Right, Claire said, abandoning her line of questioning, even though she didn't get really what she was looking for. But Gene pondered on. I wouldn't be where I am if I'd used everything I had on every long shot I worked on. Claire continued nodding and rubbed her thumb on the manila folder in her hand. Admittedly, this is arguably a special case, Gene added. What do you think happens at the end of this project? We come up with something the funders like. We do another year of research, then another. Half-Life gets up to 1.5, maybe even 2. For the sake of argument, we get to the point where we can keep things in an optimal state. What happens then? We get some champagne and we take some time off, Gene smiled. Claire smiled back, but waited for another answer. I mean, idealistically, we've achieved the greatest scientific breakthrough, ever. We go down in history for it. We change the course of the future, Gene offered. He thought about it a moment more. Realistically, he added, contractually, the funding companies, they own the rights to that research. So they would turn it into something they can sell. So we still change the course of the future, but someone else gets to decide how it gets used. And they become incredibly wealthy along the way. But what about you? If you took on the project and funded it privately, Claire was testing the waters. Gene laughed. I'm not sure I'm as rich as you think I am, Claire. I mean, look at how hard everybody works down the hall. This is an expensive project. I don't think I could fund it. But if we owned all the rights to our research, and if we managed a accelerated preservation, money wouldn't really be an obstacle anymore. And we would get to decide how things happened. I guess so, Gene considered, but in spite of my past business dealings, we're scientists. We're focused on the work, not on the money stuff. Claire stayed silent. Gene tapped his pen on his desk, deep in thought. I mean, if we could completely stop aging? Gene considered, if I didn't have to age another day, he thought aloud. I mean, if you could manage that, you could have everything, Claire, all my wealth. He smiled, put his pen on his desk as though he was playing poker. All due respect, Director, but what exactly do you mean by that? Gene looked confused. What are we talking about here, Claire? Claire watched Gene's face closely. She studied him. Her knee bounced under the mahogany desk. She gently tapped her teeth together, considering what she'd say next. And the episode comes, or that story comes to a close. All right, our next story is called We Only Frolic at Night. As the sun set on the small rural town, half of its inhabitants hopped into their cars for the short drive home. The other half were picking their places for hide and seek. Shadows cast by the colorful buildings stretched longer and longer into the fading sunlight until their edges blended into the descending dusk. A dog barked somewhere. A group of joyful children laughed in the distance. Their mother called them inside. A few final stragglers exited the shops, their keys jangling as they locked their shop doors. The 4 streetlights in town flickered a few times before switching on for the evening. Each made a tick-tick hum as it came to life. Someone yelled, "Have a good one," over their shoulder. A woman in a long, flowy dress darted down the main street on a bicycle, late for dinner and in a hurry to get home. Leaves scraped delicately across the sidewalk in her wake. And eventually, there was no one left outside. An orange glow poured out of the window of the apartments above the shops. The indistinct chorus of radios and televisions coming on leaked through the insulated wooden walls. The large gazebo at the center of town sat empty, flies tinking repeatedly against an old light bulb mounted on the underside of its roof. Dogs stopped barking. A subtle buzzing filled the air. The wires that ran above the streets carried electricity that warmed ovens within houses. And things continued to get quieter from there. The town calmed. It was at rest as the daylight dimmed. An odd car would pass through the streets, the real stragglers, until eventually there were no more cars and the sun hid completely under the horizon. Half of the town's inhabitants went to bed. The other half began to move for the first time since yesterday. Small devices floated across the town, drifting slowly. They dispersed evenly through the streets, hovering a few feet above the ground. As each device reached its designated position, it let out a soft, low-pitched hum. Once all the devices were humming, infrared lines emitted from the top of each device. The infrared light delineated a grid of domes that separated the entire town into small, enclosed areas. To those that could see them, a series of small red dots floated at the apex of each dome. Some domes had as many as 12 dots, others had 0. These dots represented a highly accurate estimate of how many humans remained active beneath each dome. This estimate was based on everything from auditory levels to electrical consumption to EEG brainwave activity readings. The moon rose, leaves scraped the pavement again, and dots continued to disappear. As the red dots blinked out, yellow dots steadily replaced them. The other half of the town's residents were not human. They didn't even resemble anything remotely humanoid. Their outer surface was sleek, black, reflective, the deepest obsidian. Each had a bulbous area that was supported by hundreds of smaller tendrils. The bulbous body expanded and contracted significantly every 60 seconds. There was something in between breathing the air and drinking from the atmosphere. They resembled a jellyfish if jellyfish were required to resist gravity. They were jellyfish that were in the early stages of evolving the ability to move on land. Intricate golden detailing covered each creature, complex patterns that flowed across its tendrils up into the bulbous main section. such a peaceful, calming form. No two creatures had patterns exactly the same, each pattern unique to its owner, like its fingerprint. The tendrils, a story like that one person would probably said to maybe it was a love song in their language, though. Tender tendrils, maybe their version of Don Ho sang it instead of Tiny Bubbles, but the tendrils of each of them vibrated as their bulbous bodies, kind of like watching a hot air balloon grow in size. And then they rose up and started to float gently like a cloud. And this fact is necessary to describe because during the day, these beings lay flat. And each night, they started to puff up like I don't know. I've never seen a marshmallow before it's puffing. And their tendrils were constantly adjusting as the weight of gravity, they were feeling gravity's pull, as the song once said. Now, they communicated at auditory frequencies that were outside the spectrum of human hearing. Low tones felt through the walls of the house or high-pitched blips that were imperceptible to all but the smallest of furry friends. When the beings had first arrived, their usable spectrum of sound had been wider, but they've quickly adjusted after discovering many humans had puppy poos and doggies. And dogs reacted, they did not like the cacophony of high-pitched sounds in the night. They would bark, or get their attention, so they changed. In parts of town where all the floating red dots had disappeared and everybody had gone to Betty Poo, the creatures started floating around, lumbering along in the shadows. Understandably, they congregated in the darker corners of the town first, obsidian on obsidian, black velvet on black velvet, hidden by the night, their golden markings reflecting brief glimpses of streetlights when they were caught at the right angle. They rumbled and blipped and circled around one another slowly. If we could have listened to it, it sounded like chattering and catching up because they discussed all they had witnessed while playing hide and seek for the 12 hours prior. Now, the bold among them had used internal biological adaptations which allowed them to scan the sleeping denizens of the houses and apartments. They collected and shared information. An inaudible rhythm coalesced as more and more of the beings emerged and added to the chatter. For them who could hear it, a loud dum, followed by a high blip, followed by two low dum-dums, followed by a high blip pattern developed. Dum-blip, dum-dum-blip. All of them were sharing various observations and reactions in time with one another. As the rhythm rang out, dum blip, dum dum blip. Outside the auditory range of humans and dogs, the creatures' floating bodies began to, they kind of like were pulsating, and their tendrils bobbed softly along. It was a sight to behold, if anyone was beholding it. Kind of like slowly bopping, pulsating hot air balloons that were hidden in the night. More and more yellow dots appeared floating above the infrared domes, congregating beneath the domes that detected no waking humans. When a red dot did reappear anywhere, the beings would quickly hide en masse, like a wave pushing around a rock or a murmur of birds shifting course. The beings affected nothing through the night. They simply drank the air, combined their observations, and bobbed around town in a loose rhythm. They were there only to witness, to observe what was occurring at that point in space and at that point in time. And as the morning sun rose over the horizon again, their devices detected more and more waking humans. The creatures deflated into their flat state once more. They spread themselves out and burrowed just below the surface of the earth. And there they lay as the town came to life, listening, watching, and feeling the activity of the following day. The end. Now we go to the epilogue of the Great Divide. We're bobbing on the surface. That's kind of interesting. This is an interlude of Scoots. We just had beings that were bobbing on the surface, and that's like part of like I've been wrong about my lyrics before, but I think that's in the song. Though the song's not called The Great Divide by Fish, it's called, I get the two names of songs. They're one-word names. Not Divided Sky, that's 3 words. I don't get that one mixed up. But there's Wait, and then there's the song that I'm thinking of, which now I can't even remember the title of that one. But let's get to the great. I just had to interlude it because, yeah. Maybe I should look it up during this interlude. Just because I don't want to leave you hanging. The Wait. That's the name of this. No. The Wait is not the name of it. That was the name of the song you just thought it was. Oh. Okay. It should have been easier to look up. The song is The Wedge. Also, by the way, that's 2 words, The Wait and The Wedge. Now let's just confirm the lyrics, and then we'll move on with our reading. But this is tangential information. Okay, here's the lyrics. We're bobbing on the surface, and the shadow glides below. And this could be this. Maybe this is like time travel, because they say she feels my heartbeat. Oh, but how I'll never know. That could be like the experience of the people in the town. That's it. That's the ocean flowing in around our parts. That's the salt that's in our when frowny faces. Because we could have come so very far. And at least as many years. And then you could take the highway through the Great Divide. Anyway, that's the Fish song, The Wedge, just one part of it. Anyway, back to the Great Divide epilogue. Hey, David. I don't know about Scooter's tangent there. I've got a sense that if he's narrating my letter, he's going to be going on a tangent before it. So, my apologies, Hardy Har Har. Maybe you should take a nap at this point and wake up and read my letter tomorrow. Hey, David, thanks for doing that. I'm writing this down with an actual pen on an actual piece of paper. I thought it was appropriate. Shows my commitment to being an old fuddy-duddy. Yeah. I've decided I don't want to live forever and on and on and on. I sent in my formal denial of services this morning. They tell me I'll probably be one of the last people to experience this wonderful natural, there used to be a Disney movie about this called it wasn't called The Circle of Life. It was called The Lion King. And in it was a song sung by Elton John. Though Phil Collins also sang a song, but Scooter thinks that's from a different movie. In fact, he's nodding. He's almost positive that Elton John sings The Circle of Life. But yeah, that I might be one of the last people that could use that metaphor. And then they say, is that an apt use of that metaphor? I don't know, but it's more apt than it will be after you use it. So that's quite a claim to fame, if that's not confusing. This isn't what we had talked about, I know. Maybe I'm just going on a tangent to go on a tangent to make myself more comfortable. Because I know you're going to be upset, and I'm sorry. I think that every generation truly grows up in a different world than their parents did. We share things. Example, love of, Stevie B. We still have a favorite person on that TV show, Stevie B. And we still listen to Rob Has a Podcast and Survivor Know-It-Alls. Even now. And we say, man, glad those two are going, thank goodness. Probst, the show, Stevie B, Rob. We love that. You and I and so many others. But I think things are different more than they're the same. For you, passing into the next phase of existence would be inconvenient. Phase changing, if it is a phase change. That's like someone turning off and on a light at a great party. Like the light that kind of the light that takes away from the light of the party. That's inconvenient. I get that. And your grandfather, he had a, more structured belief system. For him, phase change, transferring realms. So that was an invitation to a great party. A better party. The best party. Not the band, the party. Maybe you listen to the band, the party when you're there. I don't know. I get that too. For me, it's somewhere in between. It's not that I believe I'll get to see, I would like to see your mother. But if I don't go to the next realm, maybe I won't get as much time with her. And I got so much time with you kids and all 99 seasons of Survivor. I mean, I think my favorite thus far in this, present moment as I'm writing this letter is season 5-0. But that's only because of Suri and Riz and Ozzy currently right in this moment. I'm just reflecting back on that so long ago. To think that there's 49 seasons after that, and that I guess I'm going to phase change and watch 100 from another realm. I grew up thinking I was lucky to be 80, to reach 80. The people that were 80 knew, that was peak or near peak. I was like, man, I want to be 80. And they said, you're 4. I can't wait till I'm 80. What about 16? What about 22? What about, I'm looking forward to being 80. Everybody found that hilarious. But that, for me, made every year important. 80 is a small enough number that you could get, at least sort of, to keep track of everything. I spent 68 years thinking that, I lived my life in a way that made sense with that math. But now, the math has changed and asking me to change my calculations and add infinity into those numbers, I don't know. Doesn't work for me. If my life with your mother was half my life, I'm good with that. If it was a blip on the radar, I'm not, I don't know. I don't expect that to make logical sense to you, but I hope it helps you wrap your head around it. With that, I love you. I fully support you living as long as you like in this realm. I don't think it's wrong. I don't condemn this new science. We're just from different worlds. Maybe Survivor 180, season 180 will be Survivor... Not one world, but multi-worlds. Maybe there'll be Survivor multi-phase. Maybe not, though. And however, what I will say, Survivor aside, is that please don't let the quantity upstage the quality. Having all the time you want is a blessing. But it will muddy the waters. I got lucky. Lucky is not the understatement, right? I got a pretty good life on the first try. Also, your mother and I worked hard to make that the case. Not at our jobs. We worked hard at our life. Now, you have the luxury of rolling the dice as many times as you like, and that's incredible. Just don't let the endless rolling of dice interrupt the meaning in the making of life. Maybe with my denial of the service this morning, that's my punchline. Even with some contestants on Survivor being amalgamated beings, it may be time for my torch to go, be snuffed by Jeff. Maybe somehow in that I'm winning by playing the game. Well, anyway, I'll stop with the metaphors, especially the ones that peter out into nowhere. I love you. I love your mother still. I love the world, and I love this life. I'm happy for my book to have an ending, even if it feels like it's too. Holy cow! No, it didn't get 80 out of it, but it feels like it got 800, 68, 80, infinity. Choice is kind of easy for me. I hope someday you can understand that and forgive me for phasing out. Talk soon. Right. But by the way, I mean, this is an instantaneous thing. So if you're not too upset, we could do the pool draft for Survivor 100. I think Rob, Nicole, and Stevie B are talking about, they're going to run through all the contestants. We could do that on Sunday if you're free. Love, Dad.
All right, buddy, this is Scoots here to tuck you in. And this is a post-roll message where if you're still listening, I have, where I talk to you about stuff about keeping the show going. And this message is going out to people that have been listening longer than a year. So if you've been listening longer than a year, this message is going out to you. And we've got multiple messages. So the first question is, have you been listening to the show longer than a year? And do you like getting gifts? It's okay. Believe me, I like getting gifts. Do you like getting gifts? Okay. Well, if you like getting gifts and you've been listening longer than a year, what about the gift of a personal video from Scoots saying thank you? Or access to Sleep With Me Plus, a surprise gift from Scoots. What if Scoots was giving you a surprise gift of a welcome video or access to Sleep With Me Plus for free? Well, if you like getting gifts, I love giving them. And I'd love to surprise you with a gift just by spreading the word about the show, letting people know about the podcast. If you've been listening longer than a year, let people know how long you've been listening and tag me on social media or let me know about it through the contact form on our website. And maybe I'll surprise you with a gift. I'd love to. So, be surprised by Scoots. Now, another gift you could get surprised with is, if you like getting gifts, is a welcome video from Scoots, a personal welcome video when you sign up for Sleep With Me Plus. But that's just the beginning of the gifts with Sleep With Me Plus, because if you like getting gifts, like Sleep With Me Plus is like giving yourself the gift of the best way to listen to the show. Ad-free full episodes, ad-free story-only versions of the show that come out on the same day as the full episodes in 2 separate podcasts. So if you only like story-only shows, you have access to almost everything in a story-only format. I think all the way back to like the 500s. So 900-something story-only episodes. If you like full episodes, you get ad-free full episodes. And Boar Friends and Boar Besties get all the way back to episode 2. Boar Buds, you get access, I think, back to the 500-600s. Maybe even further back, because I'm not good at that stuff. If you're a Boar Bestie or Boar Friend, you get all intro episodes twice a month, a new all intro episode. And you get an all-night episode, which is a 4-hour compilation. This month we've got the first 5 episodes of Frank. But you Sleep With Me Plus is built with how you listen, particularly if you've been listening longer than a year. It's an amazing gift to give yourself. And then you get the gift of being a part of the Sleep With Me community. You get my, not just a thank you video, but really my endless gratitude, because I can only keep making this show. When people give me the gift of supporting the work that goes into the show, you get the gift back. So I don't know, having endless gratitude from Scoots, it's a pretty good gift, I think. So if you like getting gifts, think about signing up for Sleep With Me Plus, or spreading the word and being surprised by Scoots, or both. Because there's always surprises for Sleep With Me Plus members. Now, what about giving gifts? Some of you are like, well, I like getting gifts and giving gifts. Okay. Well, think about this first. Is Sleep With Me a gift in your life? Has it been a gift at bedtime? For your sleep? For your rest? For your daytime? Is it a gift as a part of your life? You've been listening longer than a year. Does it feel like a gift? And what does that gift feel like? Does it give you comfort, relief? Does it break through the loneliness? Does it just put you at ease? I don't know what it feels like for you, right? But does it feel good? Some part of the gift of Sleep With Me, does it feel good? Now imagine giving that gift to someone else, something that feels that good for you, and you get to give it to people. You get to give people that gift in a real way. Change their lives like Sleep With Me has changed yours. That sounds like a pretty good deal. Guess that'd be a pretty good gift to get, and you're giving it. And there's tons of ways. There's two ways you could do it. You could let people know about the show for free, and when they discover the podcast, and it happens to be, they happen to be the one person that needs that gift, that this is the gift for them, like, you change their life, and that's real. Now, you may have to let a lot of people know about the show, or just let people know how long you've been listening to the show and how it's impacted your life. But when you give that gift to the person that needs it, that's what it came down to for you, right? You needed the show, or you're looking for it, or it was the right fit, and you and the show found one another. Can you imagine giving that same gift to somebody else? Changing someone's life? I guess that's a two-way gift. But what about if you could give that gift to 99 other people who've been listening longer than a year? Because when you support the show on Sleep With Me Plus, those are the numbers. When you support the show on Sleep With Me Plus, you're supporting it for 99 people who have listened longer than a year, and tons of other listeners too. But think about giving that gift in a real way. Like, really, if you support the show, the podcast will be around a year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now. And as soon as you start supporting the show, you're helping us keep it going in a real way. So you're $7, you're $60 a year, $120, $240 a year, whatever. For $60 a year, you could give a gift nightly to 99 other people. And if you love giving gifts, that's pretty good. And think about if Sleep With Me is a gift in your life. Do you want to give that gift to other people? I mean, and you can also give the gift to yourself of having the best way to listen to the show. Sleep With Me Plus was designed with people that listen to the show on a regular basis in mind. It was built with you in mind. If you've been listening longer than a year, Sleep With Me is a gift and a part of your life. And you could give yourself that gift, but in a real way. People have been listening longer than a year. That means it's a pretty big part of their life. 99 other real people around the world. You're not giving them one gift. You're giving them a regular gift. And feel that. Feel what it feels like for you when you think about Sleep With Me being a gift in your life. Feels pretty good, huh? And I bet it would feel pretty good for all those 99 people that count on the show, but they just aren't in a place. They're kind of hoping somebody out there gives them the gift to sleep with me. So maybe it's you. Think about it. Think about how good it would feel to give that gift. Okay, Scoots, this is Scoots. I got one last message for all you in bed while I have you. We've talked about giving gifts. We've talked about getting gifts. We've talked about sleep with me as a gift. But what about competition? You say, Scoots, what do you mean? Well, we all know about competitive gifting if you have siblings or relatives or friends. But this isn't about competitive gifting. It's about competition. If you've been listening longer than a year, are you competitive? And the first question to ask yourself is, are you competitive individually or part of a team? Do you like winning? Or do you like the thrill of figuring out? I don't know. Sometimes for me, it's like getting close, figuring it out. But are you competitive? It's okay. I am. I'm really competitive when it comes to some stuff. When I come to that thrill. And sometimes I'm competitive as part of a team and individually, especially when it comes to board games. But are you competitive? Because if you are, and you've been listening longer than a year, we're starting a competition right now. Which group is going to spread the most word about the show or support the show, right? People have been listening 1 to 2 years, 2 to 3 years, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I mean, I have my guess. What do you think out of those groups is the most likely group to spread the word about the show, actively participate in a competitive way, or to support the show? Because I think a lot of people would guess, and they'd probably not be accurate. But I'm not going to, I don't know. How long have you been listening? Because you're part of that team. But it really will come down to one individual on each team. Some teams are going to have more players, right? The 1 to 2. I mean, if you're in that 4, 5, 6 or over 7 year category, your team's really going to count on you, because the team with 1 to 2 years, they've been listening less. They have less episodic knowledge, but they probably have a lot more people in that group. Here's the thing. If you spread the word about the show, let me know and let other people know how long you've been listening. If you support the show on Sleep With Me Plus, when you sign up, I'll send you a video. Let me know how long you've been listening for so I can add you to that list. And let's see, it's August now. At the end of September, we'll see which group. I'd love to hear, though. I'd love to hear your guesses, right? Which group of listeners, because I hope I'm wrong too, but I'm like, man, I mean, it is a balanced competition, right? If you've been listening longer than 10 years, the show's had a pretty significant impact on your life, and you've listened to a lot of Sleep With Me. But if you've listened 1 or 2 years, maybe you're a little fresher. Maybe the show has a more visceral impact because it's becoming a part of your life, and maybe you're more excited about it. So yeah, this is like a classic competition, and it doesn't, it doesn't even have to be a sports analogy. Your group could become the number of the year. What if you're listening? This could be the year of this many years. So anyway, that's another fun thing you could do. You say, yes, because I'm not interested in gift giving or getting, but oh boy, am I interested in winning. Well, I mean, you'll be giving out gifts by spreading the word about the show or supporting the podcast. But yeah, I mean, it is a fun competition. So I'd love for you to partake and be a part of this thing. And I've been going through this long, meandering message to tuck you in. There's a ton of easy ways to do it for free. By spreading the word and giving the gift of show to other people, or letting me know how long you've been listening to the show. And that really has a positive impact on the shows you'll hear in the mini-sodes. or by giving the gift of sleep with me to 99 other people that have been listening longer than a year. That's pretty cool, too. So, and giving the gift of Sleep With Me Plus to yourself. By the way, you could give the gift of Sleep With Me Plus to yourself and let me know how long you've been listening. And then you're like, gifting yourself. This is like, you say, Scoots, you're so well, I think I relate to, I'd say, well, like, yeah, but I'd like a pretty good gift for myself. And wait, you said there's a chance to win? Well, technically, I mean, I will have here's the thing. We will have a cake on camera and a birthday gathering with, how about this? I'll get balloons. I'll get a cake with candles. And, I don't know, maybe, who knows what else, but, get out there, spread the word or support the show. Let me know how long you've been listening after you do those things. Because, let somebody know about the show or tag me in social media and then let me know how long you've been listening to the show. And, that's an easy way to spread the word. Hey, I've been listening to this podcast for 3 years, and it's been helping me sleep for these past 3 years. I've been through, you don't have to even share this publicly, but I've been through a lot the past 3 years, and I'm grateful for Sleep With Me, because that's the thing. I've been through a lot the past 2 years, and I'm grateful for everybody who listens to the show, sends me kindness, spreads the word about the show, supports the show so I can keep making it, and everybody else that works on the show can keep making it. And, I really appreciate it. So with that, I'll say goodnight. Thanks, everybody.